every individual, regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender, lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are completely unique and individualized to each and every person, just like a vagina, just like a snowflake, just like a thumbprint. We are all completely different and see the world completely differently. And your key to your unlocking your love and genius and creativity and inspiration and wisdom lies inside your values. This is The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini. I'm going to break down what values are and how we can use them to unlock more finances, more relationships, create a spiritual quest, share your social message around the globe, expand your vision, wake up with more energy, have better health, more attractiveness and vivaciousness. So this is the #1 book if you want to learn more about values. Now, I'm not talking about social idealisms like happiness and peace and what do I stand for? And I'm all about doing good in the world and making people happy and living positive. Oh, wrong book. Okay. This book is about figuring out, okay, why do I love sitting in my room reading books all day? Or if someone asks me, hey, do you want to come out? And you just go, oh, no, I don't really, but you're constantly asking me. If you feel like you kind of have a feeling of like there's something in there, I just don't know what it is. I know I'm here to achieve big goals, but I keep failing. I keep beating myself up. This is for you, okay? When you figure out what your values are, you ask yourself 13 questions. They're in the book. It's like, what do I think about? What do I spend my time on? What do I spend my money on? Where am I most organized and where am I most disciplined? There's all these questions. You can go to drdemartini.com and do your own free values determination, which I highly recommend. And so we all know what our values are intuitively. If we ask ourselves, if we sit with ourselves and ask ourselves, would I rather go to work or would I rather go to the beach? For me, it's fucking go to the beach. So for the longest time, I was beating myself up because I was going to the beach and I felt like I wasn't working. So what I did now is I'm like, how does going to the beach help me work? So now I get paid to fucking walk on the beach. How crazy is that? Right? So when you can figure out and use your values, you can start to leverage them and then work off your values, the things that are intrinsic to you and what like the code to who you are, to start unlocking all of your goals and all the other areas of your life. So what are values? Like I said before, they're an intrinsic set of priorities that you feel spontaneously inspired from within to do. Things that nobody needs to remind you of. These things might be in the different areas. There might be a spiritual quest. It might be for your mental quest and your knowledge and wisdom. It might be for your body. It might be your family. It might be your work. It might be a social cause. It might be finances. Something, we're all completely different. And for every person that has a set of values on health, there's going to be someone with a value on eating McDonald's. For everyone who's got a value of making money, there's going to be someone with a value on spending money. It's all conserved. For every person that has a value, there's an equal and exact person who has the opposite. Now, in relationships, we normally attract our equal and exact opposite. So the mum who loves the kids and loves that cleaning the house and cooking will attract the man who loves work and loves making money. They are designed to show each other what they're missing out on, the different values. So our greatest gift is learning from other people because every person is a reflection of us. Okay. But where do values come from? How do, like, what is it just random or how does it come from? So our voids come from our values come from our greatest and deepest voids. When I was younger, I felt stupid. I felt ugly. I felt fat. I felt like I had all these goals and I was such a loser and I couldn't do anything. So now my values are planning on, uniting the universe with love and wisdom, and expanding my mind and reading all of the greatest books and the greatest ideas, the greatest authors, and synthesizing them and teaching and traveling the world and optimizing my body and my health and being on a very clear spiritual path and sharing my love with the, all this kind of thing, which comes from when I was younger, feeling like I couldn't do it. There is a universal law called the one and the many, which means if I have the one, I will want the many. We want what we can't have. Our voids are created from things that we feel are missing, from things that we feel we don't have and that we want. We only want things that we don't have. So when we're younger and we're developing, anything you feel is missing, the greatest thing that you feel is missing in your life, like some girls grow up and they want to have a baby and they want to have a family, they want to have a husband, they want to have a house. It's very common. They can see it clearly in their mind's eye. With your highest values, you can see it the most clearly. You can see the furthest in time. If you ask me, hey, Mitch, what does it look like in a fecal transplant manufacturing facility, what does that look like? I'm like, that's not really my thing. I mean, I like taking poos. I like looking at it and see, how's my digestion, how's my health and everything. But I don't really want to make a whole factory of it. No, I don't really want. But if you're like, hey, Mitch, what does your farm retreat look like with all of your library and the farm, and what does this look like? I'm like, oh, bang, instant. Okay. So, I mean, that's a bit of a vulgar, extreme example for you, but it's painting a picture in your mind of like the things that you love and you care most about are your values, and you'll be able to see them most clearly in your mind's eye. What else are the benefits of our values? Well, we're most disciplined, consistent, resilient. We have the greatest attention. We have the greatest intention, focus. Fucking like literally everything is created from your values. Now, the problem, we get so misguided because we think we get the government and our parents. So Demartini says this: mothers, fathers, preachers, and teachers from individuals or groups project their values onto us. So Catholicism preaches onto people the values of be a good little boy, be a good little girl, shut up, just listen, don't say anything mean, don't do any sinning because then you'll go to hell. So just be really good and, be happy and pay your church and, don't speak bad of your neighbor, and it's all about peace. And like, you get all this horse shit. And because in our mind, we're like, oh, they're the authority. We minimize ourselves. We're minimizing our values, and we're putting them above us. So eventually we're going to just keep beating ourselves up and hating ourselves. And most people die not fully expressing and achieving their greatest potential within their values. We can achieve our greatest potential inside our values. At the end of each chapter, there is little exercises that you can do, quality questions to ask yourself. A lot of it comes from not being able to see the opposite side. So if I'm a good little church boy and I'm going to church, I'm going to church and I'm subordinating to the church because I see more benefits in following the church than not following the church. So if you find, like, let's say at the moment, I love Demartini so much that I'm a bit infatuated. I think, wow, he's so much smarter than me. He's so much better looking than me. He can speak more intelligently and sharper. And, he's just all around so much better than me, right? So I'm like, I'm subordinating to him. So I ask myself, okay, what does he have? In what form, and how does he express it specifically? And then how do I do the same thing in a different way? So he teaches lots of people. I love dogs. I love going to the beach, right? So we're different, but we express the same sort of traits. right? So then I would ask, okay, if I had Demartini's life, what would the disadvantages be? Because I'm unconscious of that. So you're figuring out the other side. So the whole book is about, okay, figuring out who you are, which you are, your values. We're all completely unique. So don't feel like you need to subordinate to someone else. They come from our voids, right? So anything we feel like is missing in our life is what's going to bring us the greatest fulfillment. We're filling in our voids, fulfillment, right? And then you add in the universal law of balance. So it's like when I'm living my values, I can see both sides clearly because I'm focused and I'm long-term thinking and I'm in the executive part of my brain. But then if I'm not living my values and I'm not seeing the balance, how do I see the balance? Then how do I start living my values? How do I start taking action and being more fulfilled and gain that momentum? And then along the way, keep doing my mindset work to balance myself out and get more clear on my values. The whole fucking thing about know thyself all relates to your values. It's like they're who you are. Because it's your meaning, your fulfillment, your purpose, your inspiration, your fulfillment, your wisdom, your love, your presence, your gratitude, the things that inspire awe inside of your heart and your soul. They come from things that you feel are missing. The things that you feel are missing in the world is your contribution. It's your opportunity. It's your gift. So yeah, find the balance. Stop subordinating. Be aware of who you're subordinating to and the values, and then be like, oh, okay, I clearly see more benefits in subordinating. What would the benefits of going out on my own be? Because at the moment you say, well, the disadvantages going out on my own, I might look like an idiot. I might get criticized. I might fail. I might be wrong. I might take the wrong, what I feel like is the wrong turn. It might not be my true goal. I might be nervous. I might be embarrassed. I might be ashamed. I might regret it. You're thinking all the disadvantages. Well, what's the benefits of going out and doing your own thing? Think of that. What's the benefit? If you're doing something you don't like, figure out what you want to do that's related to your values and ask, what's the benefit of going out? Because you'll keep subordinating to other people until you see more benefits of actually being yourself. No one understands who they are. No one can see the benefits of being who they are. So if you figure out who you are and then you figure out what are the benefits of me being who I are, you build up the momentum of who you are. You get more fulfilled, more meaning, your purpose, and you just keep growing and shining. You're like a beautiful tree that's a seed that's attracted to the light. Plants grow towards the light. That's like a human. A human grows to their light, which is their soul, and become enlightened. But if you're trying to be a rose bush instead of a rose stem, you're going to be all scattered and chaotic, and you don't know where the sun is, and you create shade, and you're not in balance, and you get poison, you get full of weeds and anything. That is the values factor. Fucking incredible book. DrDMIleader.com, values determination test. Figure out what your values are. Who are you? What are your goals? What are the benefits of going after your goals? Fucking kick ass. Thank you. Subscribe.